I am very excited to introduce my friend, Lisa Merkin. She lives in LA with her 14-year-old puppy, Rudy. She has had a varied career, let's just say, ranging from fashion, tech, finance, and finally the entertainment industry. She was a Hollywood agent. She played semi professional pool and she did stand up comedy. So, like many of you, she's had varied careers and has many different passions. But in 2017, she decided to retire to become a full time artist. She works with paper, fiber, and obviously books, found objects, and books. And as her career shows, she's passionate about many different things, and you're going to see that reflected in her artist books. Recently, she had the honor of having one of her books purchased um, by the Bodleian Library in Oxford, in the UK, which is a huge honor. I feel like her perspective on creating artist books will be really valuable for you, particularly if you haven't made an artist book or you just want to dip your toe in the water. So that's why I want to chat with Lisa today. I want to hear about her journey, how her book got purchased by the library, her process, kind of her thought, how she comes up with ideas, how she organizes them, her studio time, all sorts of things like that. Hello, Lisa Merkin.
Hello.
How are you? Did
Morning,
I lie?
everyone.
Did I tell any fibs?
What?
Did I tell any fibs?
Only that my artist book was not purchased by the Bodleian, but by a British collector of artist books who's putting on a show at the Bodleian in 2023. And then after the show, it will be permanently donated to the library and will be living at the library for the rest of its life.
So did I get it right when I said that you're fairly new to creating artist books?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So,
it's only been a couple of years that I've been creating artist books.
How did we get there? Like, what's the journey? Briefly.
You got a couple of hours. Okay, so I guess, I'll do a real fast forward kind of. Okay, when I was very young, since I was very young, I've always loved making things and creative things. So it was embroidery. It was, at camp, weaving those plastic. What are those things called? GIMP.
It's GIMP.
Remember those long strands of plastic?
Yeah, I do.
So, if it was arts and crafts, I was like 100% in. Whether it was, at camp or at our community center, it was like go where they make things. And so that was the beginning. I decided to go to college for journalism because writing was another one of my passions.
Yeah.
Versus art. And I think I probably held myself back a little because I've never thought I can draw. Like, I know I'm creative, but drawing, not so good. So if you say draw this, chair, it'll look like a dog and vice versa. So not being able to draw made me say, well, I could never be an artist.
Right.
So I'm going to go to school for journalism.
Gotcha.
So I did that at Syracuse University. And then after college, I came down to New York. And I took a lot of classes in college, art classes.
Interesting.
But journalism being my major wasn't, the main thing. Came down to New York after college and took classes there as well. Graphic design was like a thing for me. I really liked graphic design and I didn't have to be able to draw.
Right.
To do it. So, that was good. I fell into the marketing business world. That was where my creativity was channeled.
Right.
And it provided me a living, which was good,
Always good.
Always good.
Yeah.
So over the years, I've done, a lot of creative projects, but it wasn't the main force of my life. It wasn't the focus of my life because I was working for other people and helping them grow their businesses.
Yeah.
So, when I decided I wanted to retire early, and that's a whole long story that I'm not going to get into, but I decided I wanted to retire early in 2017, as you said. And I said, well, what am I going to do with my life? And I said, I've always wanted to be an art student, not an artist. I said to myself, I've always wanted to be an art student,
Huh.
which is kind of a weird thing, but
Yeah.
it's true because I'm a person who's been passionate about learning my whole life.
Yeah.
My mother was a teacher, and I was always taking, classes outside of wherever I could take classes because
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'd love to learn. So I said, I want to be an art student. And so I decided I was going to take a class up at Idlewild, which is near Los Angeles. It's in California. It's an
Yeah.
art school kind of up in the mountains.
Yeah.
And in the summertime, they have a program for adults, which I pretend to be now and then.
Me too.
And so I took a class there with a woman named Helen Hebert.
Oh, that's how you and I connected.
Exactly. Ba-boom. So it all comes together. So
Yeah.
Helen, I met at it was a paper sculpture class for a week.
Mm-hmm.
And we did all sorts of things. And I was in my glory. I mean, this was like, oh,
Yeah.
it just happened to be the first week of my retirement that the timing just worked out perfectly.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, this is what I want to do. This is fun.
Yeah.
Can I do this? I can do anything I want. I'm retired. So in fact, that's what I did. So Helen was my first main influence in moving forward.
Yeah.
And I tried everything. I tried paper making, which is fun. And I still do once in a while with not like Helen's level. Hello. No.
Yeah.
Just, recycled paper in the blender kind of,
Yeah.
like
Great.
that.
Yeah.
But still fun.
Yeah.
And then I was working on various things for a while. I actually did a painting class, abstract. Thank you, because once again,
No drawing.
Yeah. So, at one point, I was talking to Helen, who we remained in touch, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And she said, I was saying I really liked making books, and she said, you should talk to this lady named Allie Manning. She's got this great Facebook group, and geez, I did make a short story long, but that's how I got to you.
No, I'm interested. No, it's fascinating. That's just what people want to know.
That's how I got to you. And I also, because I had started working on making books on my own.
Yeah.
Just before then, I found a man on YouTube. And this isn't like fun, make books with Allie. This is like hardcore book binding kind of videos. And his name is Sage Reynolds. He doesn't make videos anymore.
Yeah.
But his channel is still up.
Yep.
And that's where I learned most of my bookbinding, like basic stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
I watched every video of his like twice. Like when I want to dig into something, I dig in. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. I know you do.
So that's how I got into bookbinding.
Yeah.
Was just, in fact, there was a magazine in the 90s called Handcraft Illustrated.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever heard it. It lasted, I think, 5 years. That was it. It was gone.
Yeah.
It was published by the same people who publish Cooks Illustrated, which is still happening.
Of course,
The handcraft. Anyway, so I had gotten my hands on a few of those. I now have a whole 5 years set, bound.
Wow. Yeah. Bound, of course.
Of course. And there were some books and box projects in there. And I just, I
did not know that.
The tip back then.
Yeah.
But, it still took another 10 years for me to get the hang of this is what I want to do.
Oh, that's fine.
At any rate, so that's kind of how I ended up where I am. And from there, where we are very recently, a couple of years ago, I heard about artist books.
Right.
And I was told about a challenge on Instagram called Are You Book Enough?
Yeah.
And that's when I dove into that. Boy, did I make that story long. But that's
no, it's good. That's good.
That's how that was the kind of the sequence of events ish.
Yeah. Do you know the lady who runs that? Because I think she'd be really fun to have on to the to do a Facebook Live with.
She's taking a little break, and it's an incredible community of people.
Yeah.
She decided she needed a break for personal reasons.
Yeah,
and
sure.
she asked if there was anybody who wanted to help out and host. And it was like the calendar was full in 10 minutes.
Oh, that's great.
So every month there's a new host. People volunteer to host.
Yeah, great.
And it's
good.
It keeps running. It's great.
I'm glad that. Well, because you can burn out, and people have lives, and
people have lives.
That pandemic thing, I don't know. I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. It just,
Yeah. Apparently, some people have lives. I wouldn't know about such things. This is my world. My studio is my world.
That's great. I have to say, though, I think a lot of people will appreciate your retirement becoming an art student, not a professional artist, but a professional art student for your retirement. I think that is very key for your work, actually, because when you dive into a book, you dive into a book, right?
I do.
You want to explain a little bit about like your process?
My process is thorough.
Yes.
Let's start there. It's just like anything I do. I go deep, right? We know that. And what I mean by that is not like, oh, I'm fabulous, I go deep. I mean, like, I need to know everything before I can, come up for air and go, this. It's like if I haven't been swimming in the pool of knowledge of a subject, I can't emerge with what I want to say. So, and I also love doing research. So that's just whole nother thing. But so it helps. The process, well, there's two things. One thing is if the idea has been given to me, like with Are You Book Enough?
Right.
Every month there's a word. And so, you're given this word.
Right.
And you make an artist book based on your reaction to or your interpretation of
that word. Yeah.
So the word is red. I mean, that sort of leaves a lot of room for a lot of people to do a lot of things.
Right. Yeah.
And so when it comes to that, and Are You Book Enough in general, I tend to look at that topic and not just say, oh, I'm going to make a red book.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, okay, I could have made a red book, but, that's sort of
literal.
Right. So if we're making the list, red book, things that are read on different pages. I mean, we're, a little better, but still kind of like, really. And then you start looking at what red means to you. It means emergency, caution, or love, blood. I mean, I just sort of do like this free thinking kind of exercise.
Yeah.
Sometimes written down like a mind map. I don't know if you've ever seen those.
Yeah.
Just to sort of get all the ideas out.
Right.
Usually I throw out the first few because they're just so obvious.
Right.
And, not that a person making a red book couldn't make a beautiful red book.
Oh.
Or a beautiful book about things that are red.
Sure.
But, it's at the point where I was thinking originally with this, I was really just aiming to create something every month and present it on Instagram for this challenge.
Right.
So my goal was to do something different. I'm not thinking about what's marketable or what's commercial because it's like if you're not doing it for yourself,
right,
and to feed your soul, then it's
what's
the
point?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So I sort of get into what it is about red, for example, that is gonna do something for me.
Okay.
And certain topics are tougher than others.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
when it
So
yeah, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead. Go ahead. Keep
I
going.
was gonna say that's like the instigation of the idea for the book, starting with, here's the word,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But then there's all these other ways that ideas come for books that
Right.
have nothing to do with, are you book enough?
Sure.
And
Yeah.
that's a whole nother process.
Well, could you talk me through, for example, I know you have a book with legs. So
Yes, I
can
do.
you talk me I'll bring up a couple pictures of this book, but that was a book enough prompt. Can you
It
tell
was.
us what the prompt was and then where you went with it? Because I think that's fascinating and not something I at all would have expected.
The topic, as you said, is legs. And I thought, what the heck am I going to do with legs,
Right.
And there were people that did some fabulous books that,
Mm.
opened kind of, and it was all these kicking legs from like, Toulouse-Lautreckian kind of,
Yeah.
you know, um, and all these beautiful things. And when I thought of legs, it just reminded me of a friend of mine from New York when I was living in New York,
Yeah.
who had a prosthetic leg. And just why this dawned on me, I don't know. But we were together once, and the ZZ Top song "Legs," she's got legs, that
Yeah.
song,
Yeah.
came on, and I was dancing around, and I remember glancing at her, and she was looking at me, and I thought, is this bad that I'm dancing around to this song while she's got a prosthetic leg and she's sitting there, And we kind of had this awkward moment, and then we just burst out laughing.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, it was very funny. But this woman was so capable. She got around New York better than anybody I knew with two
Yeah.
naturally. I mean, it
Yeah.
was crazy. Really amazing girl. And so that popped into my head, and I said, prosthetic legs. Huh.
Right.
Let me sort of see what I can come up with that. And
Yeah.
I said, I wonder if there's been any progress with,
Yeah.
and so I dug in, and it was just like, this
Yeah.
is very cool. What's being done these days? I think I should make a book about it. Yeah, and there you go.
All right. Here's your book. Do you see it on the
What?
screen?
I do see it. That is.
So you want
And
to
that's
let
the
me?
whole thing sort of unfolded.
Mm,
The whole package unfolded. I think
okay.
the next picture is when it's all folded. Yeah. That's what it looks like almost. It's almost on the screen. Yeah, there we go. That's what it looks like when it's completely folded up. Now the
Mm,
front piece opens and that flops up, the side pieces come out, and then the middle piece comes down. And
wow.
you see that on the next picture.
Hold on. Let's see. Yeah. So
On
that
the
was the
top
first one. Okay.
like
All
kind
right.
of,
Oh yeah. Here
there
we
you
go.
go.
Nice.
So, and by the way, that's that paper that I got from you, that tan paper.
Oh, that's too
Remember,
funny.
I contacted you, said, "Oh, do you have any more of this? I need some for this project." That was it. So it's
That,
like the perfect shade of not white, not dark, but sort of medium
yeah. Yeah.
skinish. I don't know, whatever. But okay, so then I decided to divide the thing into 4 sections. The
Yeah.
top left is history, and we'll get a close up of that. Then there's innovation, then there's inspiration, and then there's aesthetics.
Huh. Okay.
Those are
Let's
the
go
4
through.
areas. So you see, this is the history, and it's just legs.
Yeah.
And it's from, the very beginning of time, where there was some, like, I don't know, some kind of tree stump or something, And then at the very end, you see like the kind of stuff that, like, runners and
Mm,
races are wearing. So it progressed, and there were so many different varieties. And yes,
yeah.
that took me forever to research, locate the images, and then edit them
Okay.
so that they looked decent laid out. Forever.
Oh, all right. Well, we'll get into that actually, how long it takes you to make a book in a
And
minute. So this,
so the next one is innovation. That was in a little well that came out. And this is
yeah.
the flag book, and it's filled with patents and diagrams of how these legs come to be.
Wow. Good
And it's all
grief.
done I did that on vellum.
Yeah. Huh. So like plans and like, yeah, they're like
Exactly.
diagrams. Huh.
Exactly.
Wow.
Diagrams.
And this is a flag book, right?
A flag book, exactly. And it folds
Okay.
up and it goes in that. Well, this is a pop-up book.
Mm.
Unfortunately, you don't see, but the front is propped up with two prosthetic legs actually in the front. If you saw
Oh,
it
really?
from, but it pops up when you open, as pop-ups do. And
Yeah.
these are just instances of people that have like done remarkable things
Right.
wearing a prosthetic leg.
Huh.
Like, marathons and mountain climbing. And I mean, it's just remarkable.
Yeah, it is. And so, yeah, you did instead of disability, ability. Gotcha.
Ability, right. It's also in a well, a pop-up in a well.
Right. Gotcha. And
And
then
then the
this
last
final
one
one. Ooh, I love
was
this.
aesthetics, which I just I could not believe how beautiful these
Mm.
prosthetic legs had gotten. It didn't look like a medical device anymore. It looks like an art piece. And in fact, if you look at 8 o'clock, that is Frida Kahlo's leg.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And there's, I could go through them, but you don't need that much detail. It's just
Yeah.
beautiful wood carving, all sorts of fiberglass, beautiful stuff. Crystal.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow. And this
so
spins, right? This is a
it
Vauvel.
just can spin around. Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
I don't know
Holy
why you would
cow.
want to, but it can spin.
Yeah. Well, we like spinning.
I just made it spin because it was, kind of fun, Volvelli.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
So
So
that was the legs book.
so that gives you a little window into Lisa's brain, which I don't know if you really want that.
I don't know if you want to look in there because it can be a very scary place.
So it
But-
seems to me like you spend a lot of time researching your books before you create them.
do.
How long would you say each book takes?
Helen sees this, she's going to be laughing because she always says, "It took you so long to make a book."
Yeah.
It's anywhere from, let's say, 50 to 100 hours.
Oh, and how do you know that? How do you track that?
Because I have a studio log
Yeah.
that I put down every the next day in the morning. I write how many hours was I in the studio yesterday,
Yeah.
and what did I do.
Huh.
And it's not like I have a clock that I'm punching,
Sure.
what by the minute. It's approximately about an hour on that, an hour on that.
Yeah.
And I started doing that because a teacher had recommended that. The painting teacher, I had a little brief
Yeah.
foray with painting there a few years ago. And she had recommended it because she said, if you start seeing a dip in your hours in the studio, you
Yeah.
should know that and be cognizant of it, not just going, I don't think I've been spending that much time. It's like, how much less time have you been spending?
That's
And what is there a
interesting.
reason for it?
Right. Yeah.
So my goal is 25 hours a week.
Wow. Okay.
And that's pretty typical for me.
Yeah.
But I mean, I take a lot of time. I like to cook, I like to do other things.
Yeah.
Working on a book, I've done
Mm.
a lot more than 20 a week. But
Huh.
yeah.
And that's I honestly find that idea fascinating, like tracking your time, not because you're going to be billing someone or not
No.
because you want to figure out a price, but to track your own creativity
Exactly.
and to see patterns, like what times a day am I more creative, or what times a year, and
exactly. I don't track it by hour, but yes, that's the idea,
mean,
is to sort of get a beat on it.
yeah.
I remember at one point I was taking a break between projects.
Yeah.
Like when I finished one of these projects, it's kind of like having a child.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
I've never had children, so I don't know, but I'm betting that's a little bit more painful. But when I finish a project, it's like producing something. It's like, oh, it's
Yeah.
done, and I want to take a break. And so I used to see, I take the day off. I need a couple days to just, R&R.
Yeah.
And I was sliding on those R&R days. And I
Huh.
found myself 4 days, 5 days. And I'm like, why am
What-
I doing so much time, like, of nothingness?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think it was just making me kind of lazy. Not that you can't take time off.
No, you
but,
should.
Yeah. But it was like, it was more than it should have been. And to me, not to anybody else. It's just to me.
it didn't feel good.
Right. So now, before I finalize a project,
Yeah.
I know what my next one's going to be.
Oh, that's
That's
interesting.
that's my trick. Because when I'm working on a project, I can't wait to get up in the morning and get in here and start working. And what's my next task? And get it all
Gotcha.
together.
Yeah.
But when I don't know what's next, I
Yeah.
flounder.
Oh,
So I
interesting.
don't
So
want to
you
be a flounder.
no,
No,
because the floundering can then go on 1 days, 5 days, 10 days, and then
that was happening, and I said, no, 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 we need to fix this. So
right.
that was one of the outcomes of tracking my hours and actually looking at the numbers. I mean, I knew it.
Interesting. Yeah.
Obviously, it was going on, but when I
Yeah.
looked at 0, 0, 0, 0, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
no, that's no bueno. Like too
Yeah.
many zeros.
Well, and then that equals a slump, and then
You get into a slump.
yeah. Yeah.
And
And
so I decided I'm going to know what my next project is. Now,
mm,
having said that, the next project might not be that, but I know at least what I'm going to try next.
sure. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
After this book, maybe I'm just going to spend time playing with different methods of transferring images.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. It's just I know the next
Step.
either project or task or step exactly.
Yeah. Don't writers do that? Some writers, don't they leave their desk like mid-sentence or something so that the next day they can they know what to start and
roll right
into.
in.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
So
that's
so
helped me a lot.
let's just say you've come to the end of a project and you've got your new one ready. Like where you get okay, so I hear you've got prompts, which is great. And of course, I think we're all going to go over there now and start working on prompts. But where else do your ideas come from? Is it just those one prompts, or do you have 1,000 ideas a day, which I know many of us do? Like where are they all coming
Right.
from?
If you don't have ideas coming to you, I'm going to
Yeah.
say this first. It's not the end of the world.
Okay.
You can open up a dictionary. Does anybody have a printed dictionary anymore?
Hell yes.
I do.
Oh yes.
Although mine is very old and I keep ripping pages out to use in projects. Go to a dictionary, open it up to a random page, and point your finger down without looking.
Right.
It could be something really dumb, man. But it could be something interesting.
Huh. That's a good
red.
idea.
It
could be red, yes.
You can always do that. And then if it's a word like, the Virgin Islands, something that's kind of like,
But still,
just do it again. Do it until you got something. Don't dismiss it immediately unless it's like really weird. Don't dismiss it easily. Give it a thought for a minute and then go, spin it again. Spin her again. Spin the wheel.
Oh, interesting.
So you can always do something like that.
Okay.
But ideas are funny little things.
Mm-hmm.
They come when you're not looking for them, and they come when you are looking for them. That's
right.
I will explain.
Mm.
I am paying attention more as an artist.
Mm.
I am paying attention more to things that attract me. That just in life. I was driving down the street the other day, and if any of you are familiar with LA, there are these brightly colored purple trees called Jacaranda. I'm probably mispronouncing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. They're gorgeous. It's like purple. Like, is that even real?
Yeah.
I have a bougainvillea on my property, which happens to be an orangier one. They're typically very pink. And I thought, that makes me happy to look at these colored they're so bright and beautiful.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's a book in that.
Right.
Maybe accompanied by a poem about colors in nature. I bet there's somebody wonderful's written a poem about, if not, maybe I'll try to write one. Whatever. It's just, it was just me driving down the street. I was telling you the other day, I saw a big billboard with this really cool ampersand on it, like the and sign.
Yeah.
And it was really cool looking. And I thought, ampersands are cool.
Yeah, that's a book right there.
And I thought, I'm going to make an ampersand book. Now,
maybe you will, maybe you won't.
maybe I won't. Right, exactly. But I would say between just paying attention, not
Yeah.
just to the details, like you're all, all over the place, just
Yeah.
things in your daily life that just make you smile, other than your family and your grandchildren and food, which are just the things that we,
Food. Which
right,
order do they
food.
go in? I don't know.
They
I
just,
don't.
they're there and they're wonderful, and we'll always love them, family
Gotcha.
and friends. But
Gotcha.
little things like,
Yeah.
I never realized how much I liked ampersands, whatever. So
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
paying attention.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's when you're not looking for an idea and something can pop up.
Right. Gotcha.
Um,
Yeah.
I've gotten to the point where this follows on to the I want to be an art student instead of an artist.
Yeah.
My quest for learning, for as I've gotten, I'm not going to say older, as I've gotten more
Mature.
yes, the gray hair, as the gray hairs came in,
Right.
I've got this intense
Thirst.
thirst for
Yeah.
knowledge, for like, just not like I want to know it all, but like,
Yeah.
how does that work? Ooh, that's cool. And so I've become a bit of a YouTube junkie, where
Yeah.
I watch, I mean, it's history. It's not just art. I watch a lot of art
Yeah.
videos, but it's history and it's science and it's language and it's culture. Culture, particularly to me, is just like, wow, there's a tribe in Africa that does this, and this. That is so interesting, you know? And so I watch a lot of videos and I learn a lot of stuff. Some of it sticks, some of it goes woo woo, out my brain.
Yeah.
But it sparks ideas, not like, oh, that person is doing this, so now I want to do this. It's not necessarily copying the idea, but it's somehow it like gives a spark. I call them sparks.
Yeah.
And I have like maybe 20 a day, 25 a day. I don't know.
Are you writing these down?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I used to say, oh, this is great, I gotta write it down. And then I go, oh no, I'll remember. No.
You're hilarious.
No, spoiler alert, she did not remember. Okay.
No, never.
So, I mean, obviously, I'm not going to pull over on the side of the road if I see a pretty tree. I'm right to trees,
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, if I'm watching something, I've been binging the PBS series Craft in America.
Yeah.
Which is just amazing. It's like 13 seasons, and there's 2 or 3 episodes per season that are just filled with people doing amazing things. They're all craft artists, and they're doing amazing things.
Right.
So I've been watching it, and I've got to pause it to write down. I'm watching this woman do this ancient beading technique, and I'm like, beads. I have a ton of beads from when I was younger. Believe me, I still have them. I'm like,
of course,
I'm not a hoarder, but I hoard art supplies.
Of course, I don't know anyone else like that. So
yeah, no, I'm sure you don't.
No.
So I said, maybe I could do some beading on a book cover.
Right. So that's a spark.
How would that be appropriate?
Yeah.
And so I'm like running this interview completely myself, Allie. I'm so sorry.
No, this is good.
Over.
No, this is what we want to hear. They don't want to hear me. They want to hear you.
What was coming next from my brain was my influences. I talked about my influences in paper with Helen and you and Sage Reynolds from bookbinding. My influences. I swear to God, it's not a synapse problem. There is a connection here. I'm not going off.
No, I know.
The reason I jumped here is because one of my influences in book arts is making artist books is a woman by the name that you know what I'm saying, a woman by the name of Claire Van Vliet.
Right.
And she's amazing woman. Her imprint is Janus Press, and she's been around since the 60s, and she's one of the most celebrated, artist book creators and
how did
producers.
you find her?
Yeah, she's terrific.
How did you?
gave
Yeah.
Nikki a link to an
Yep.
article that maybe you can post.
It's in the
Um,
comments.
that I read often because every time I read it, it's a
Yeah.
little short article, but I get something out of it different every time.
Yeah.
But one of the things she says, and this is where the connection was from the previous thought, it's here, is that book ideas can come from a lot of places, but you've got two sort of sides of things. It's an idea, right? One of these sparks that you look at and you go, well, that one doesn't suck. I think I might want to follow that one.
Yeah.
It's an idea looking for a format, the format of the book. Well, that's interesting. It's a timeline. Probably be really cool as an accordion.
Gotcha.
Or that is, a book of surprise things. Maybe that's pop-ups.
Pop-up. Yeah.
So it's an idea looking for a format. And sometimes you have a format looking for an idea. So you find this really cool folding something or other.
Yeah.
Or you learn it from you, the spinning accordion thing, and you think, what would be appropriate? A great idea for that, for the spinning idea.
Yeah.
Because artist books, the most successful ones that I've seen, and this is just my taste, because there's lots of artist books that are just beautiful art.
Yeah.
Don't really have any words, don't say anything. They're just like art objects. And that's great.
Yeah.
For me to create what I like to do, which is, as you know, in depth, is to create something that marries the format with the idea so that it, as I said, a timeline on an accordion or the pop-up with something that you're talking about, surprise.
So why don't
marrying those two things? So the idea can come from either of those places.
Gotcha.
Whether it's the idea looking for the format or the format looking for an appropriate idea that the format can show off.
So how did that work then with, say, could you talk us through that with, say, your alphabet book or another one of your books? Like, which one do you think would be a good one to...
I can talk about the alphabet book.
Yeah, hang on. Let me share it quickly.
All right, cool. This is the one that got sold to the to the collector. That will be in his exhibit in the Bodleian. So this was a prompt from Are You Book Enough? And the prompt was body language. Which I took very literally. And I discovered that there are alphabets that are made up of people in different positions. And I don't mean that in a naughty way, although there's lots of those out there which I encountered. Naughty positions. I'm just talking about, somebody like this to make an A.
Gotcha.
People leaning,
Yeah.
So I've discovered this human alphabet thing, and I was like, this is amazing. I wonder if there's more. And I discovered hundreds and hundreds of sets dating back from like the 9th century. Thank you very much.
Right.
A prayer book from the 9th century.
Yeah.
To, just a few years ago, and I'm sure there's many more than I discovered, but just a few years ago, which was a very modern photograph. So of course, this was one of the longest researches I did. This is the custom box I created for it, which is body language.
Okay.
And I decided, what's a great way to present alphabets?
Yeah.
Well, how about blocks? Alphabet blocks.
Yeah.
That to me was sort of a fun way to present them. To me, it just clicked and made sense.
Right.
And so there's 6 alphabet blocks, 36 different letters, and each one is from a different set. So there's no 2 from the same alphabet set. And then I created cards, which you can see laying behind the blocks.
Yeah, there we
There's
go.
an
Yeah.
example of
Yeah.
2 of the blocks, alphabet blocks. And
Wow.
there's the 6 letters on each one. And
Wow.
it says, it gives the date, it
Uh-huh.
gives the artist,
Yeah.
and it gives the, where it was used.
Huh.
So yeah, and it's I mean, I could have gone on in each one, like, is it, there's a photograph, or is it a lithograph, or is it a block print, or there's
Yeah.
a whole lot of different information I could have included, but I was like, wait,
Yeah.
even for me, I was getting a little mental. So so
Wow.
that's exactly what I presented.
Oops.
And you can see on the bottom, this was the custom box that I made.
Yeah.
And it opens at the top, it's got the little holograph, and then there's little spots that each of the wells that each of the blocks go in. And
Yeah.
when the front flap opens, those cards slide in or out.
Wow.
So,
That's amazing. Oh my gosh.
I love doing box design. It's like a kooky thing, but I like
Yeah.
it. So
Huh.
that came from body language. What do I do?
Wow. Yeah.
That was the prompt. And as I said, I just took it very literally,
No, but I just don't know. But that's where your brain went. Someone else's brain would go somewhere else. So that is
completely. And there were some
fascinating.
really amazing pieces.
Yeah. Yeah.
But nothing like mine, because
yeah, you just followed.
I don't think and do what you do, and yours will be amazing. And you don't think the way I think, because it'll be completely different, because we have different perspectives on things, different experiences.
Yeah.
I mean, it's natural.
Yeah.
If we let those things come out,
Exactly.
And that, I think, is a fallback that some people allow to happen. They go, oh, that's comfortable, I'll just do that, it's comfortable, not pushing themselves.
Well,
you don't need to go crazy, but I think pushing yourself a little bit out of your comfort zone can really, and just expressing this thing you have, this uniqueness you have, is.
So what advice would you give to someone who is just wanting to do like one artist, but like just say like, they said, I just don't know where to start. Like, what should I do?
Well, that's a very good question. And it is, start with something completely different than the process that I just described. And what I mean by that is, don't go mental. Don't do a ton of research. Don't delve into something that's going to take you 100 hours.
Okay.
Just start with, because when I first started, I said, I'm going to make an artist book. I'm going to make an artist book. And I had this idea, and I was going to do it, and I was going to do it. And the idea was a little too overwhelming. As a first artist book, I was like,
gotcha.
Where do I start? What do I do?
Okay. Yeah.
Give me 1 second, because I'm going to grab the one. And you haven't seen this because it's not even on my website.
Okay.
So hold on 1 second, and I'm going to bring you the first one I did. I said, start with something small, Lisa. You're killing yourself here. And so I decided first I was going to do an accordion, because it was just like my most comfortable thing. And I actually love making accordion books.
Me too.
There's so much variety. There's so many things that you can do. So what I did was a play on shadows. And it was just body movement. Again, with the body. A body movement. And so I created, it's very dusty. Oh, yeah, I should really, well, I didn't know I was going to bring this out, so whatever.
That's all right.
Pardon my dust.
There's better things to do than cleaning, trust me.
Exactly. Yeah. So, okay, now I have to,
there we go.
Where I get, where am I?
Good, right there is good. Oh, that's interesting.
I called it Flow. And here we have ballerina.
Yep.
Street dancer.
Yep. Yep, I can see that.
Gymnast.
Yep.
Pole dancer.
A pole dancer. Okay. Oh, yeah. So you do. Yeah.
another dancer, somebody in prayer, spiritual, whatever.
Yeah. Huh.
Another dancer,
Yeah.
belly dancer, and then
Uh,
like sort of I picture her as Audrey Hepburn, the ballroom dancer.
yeah, same here.
You know,
Nice.
you've got
Yeah.
jazz, you've got street dance, and
Yeah.
so it's this whole book
Yeah. Of shadows.
of
Yeah.
shadows, just black shadows,
Gotcha.
with people
Yeah.
moving,
Right.
the flow of energy in their dance. And then the last cover is just a collage of the
Yeah.
different colors that I used in the book.
That's very cool. And
And
simple though.
it's simple. I mean, it took a little bit for me to do all the cutting because I'm a little picky.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was very simple. There was no text with it other than the cover calling it
Yeah.
Flow.
Right.
And so that was great. Now, let me just bring up a thing about text. That's another thing.
Yeah.
Everybody's got different definitions of what is an artist book. I mean, it's like, you know, that there's so many people that define it.
Yeah.
I have a pretty simple way of looking at it. And once again,
Yep.
this will connect to what I was talking about with text. I'm not going off on it.
Yeah.
A book is a regular traditional book is something you open and you read. Or if you're very young, you look at pictures and somebody reads to you, but there's words and pictures. Okay. So but as adults, we read books that are, you know, with text in them. And so it's telling a story through words primarily.
Yeah.
What I think an artist book is something that tells a story through image.
Yeah.
So it's still storytelling.
Yeah.
But it's done through images. It might be photographs. It might be, you know, shadows. It could, you know, whatever that is.
Yeah.
But so it's storytelling through images.
Yeah.
It may or may not have words. It may not need words.
Right.
I didn't need in this little flow book to write ballet dancer.
No, you didn't.
Dancer. I didn't need to do that.
No. Interesting.
But in some books, you want to include something that will give meaning to the images.
Yeah.
And move someone to feel something.
Right.
If I was lucky enough to show this flow book to someone, got it, they might be moved by it. I mean, if they were really looking at it and how I placed the different taut lines and textures, which I didn't even point out, but whatever. It's the flow of energy. Yeah. And so looking at this book and this flow of energy and this accordion was kind of where I was going with it, you know? Wow. And hopefully that has meaning. It did to me. Exactly. But other books might just be drawings that don't seem connected in some way. Yeah. But if you add words or a quote or poem or some, you know, history, whatever that is,
it brings the meaning.
It brings it together and it sort of gives it meaning. So it may or may not have words. It also, I think, needs to be interactive. Yeah. Because that's what, you know, traditional book is interactive. You flip pages and you read and you're holding it and you're, right? Yeah. So that's another aspect. It you know, it's kind of fun for somebody to touch something with white gloves. Yeah. You know, if they're, you know, playing with it. And that's basically it. Yeah, that's your definition of an artist book. Yeah.
I do have a couple questions. So folks have popped. I've got a question from Roberta, and she was saying, do you create on the computer and then print it out, or do you use letterpress? How do you sort of? You know?
I unfortunately do not know how to use it. I know how to use it, but I don't have access to letterpress. I wish I had a very big space and a very expensive press and tons of type to set, but I don't. So the answer is the computer now. if I move toward doing an edition,
Yeah.
which is, you know, I do all one of a kind now. So if I
Yeah.
move towards doing an edition of
Yeah.
10 or 12 or 50 or, you know, whatever, it's
Yeah.
sort of the next level in my mind for me that I'm not quite there yet.
Yeah.
Then I would have to use either somebody who did letterpress printing or
Yeah.
go to a place. So right now, so the short answer is I do everything on the computer.
Yep.
Um,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
my printer, which is an amazing,
Yeah.
amazing machine printer. They do.
Okay.
All of
Oh,
my
really?
stuff is hand cut. I don't have
Yeah.
a Cricut or anything. So,
Okay. What printer do you use? Just out of interest.
well, I have a laser, black and white, a monochrome laser jet that I crank out, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But I have a pigment inkjet,
Oh, okay.
which is different than a dye-based ink. And the
Right.
difference is, if any of you have printed out on your inkjet printer something in color and then accidentally hit a drop of something, hit it, and it goes, you know,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
runs because.
Yeah. Huh.
So if you
Interesting.
print something out on, you
Yeah.
know, dye-based inkjet printer, you
Yeah.
need to seal it by spraying it with something, you know,
Yeah.
one of the
Yeah.
stinky things we have to go outside to spray because it's so terrible.
Yeah.
To seal it so that you can work with it.
Right.
But pigment is doesn't have that problem. It's a more expensive printer and it's got I
Sure.
think 9 different ink cartridges in it.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah.
But worth it because your work. So your work shows how. I mean, you know, you can tell
Thank
you
you.
use a good printer.
Yeah.
So we're coming up at the top of the hour. So what is
Oh,
next for you? Like what now well, maybe the pandemic is coming to an end. Like
we
what
don't know.
we don't know. What is next for you? Like, you know, what do you see in your future?
More learning
Uh-huh.
because that's my jam. I love it. That's like
Mm-hmm.
that's my juice, my energy.
Mm-hmm.
Back in 2020, right before the pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
actually it was at the beginning of the pandemic, but we didn't know yet because you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I was supposed to go to PBI, Paper and Book
Yeah.
Intensive,
Mm-hmm.
and I was so excited because this
Mm.
was like, you know,
Summer camp for
summer camp for
book
book
artists.
art, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, it's not an inexpensive proposition with the
Nope.
travel and the fees and everything, but I'm like, I'm in, you know? And then,
Mm-hmm.
of course, it got canceled.
Yeah.
Then it was canceled last year. So it's
Uh-huh.
actually on this year in
Mm-hmm.
2022. And people that were registered and got bumped out because of the pandemic from 2020 have first priority. So that's, you
Great.
don't have to worry about
Mm-hmm. So you're
getting
going.
a spot, hopefully.
Yeah.
So that's my plan for May.
Mm.
It, as of now, we don't know what we don't
Mm-hmm.
know with this
Yeah.
whole crazy
Mm.
world of ours. You know,
Right.
hopefully there's not going to be a new variant or whatever.
Mm.
I'd feel more comfortable flying
Mm-hmm.
if a very smart airline decided to do, you know, for inoculated people only for vaccination. You
That would be
know,
interesting. Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
So some travel, because I know you recently made a book. You want to just show us your most latest book? Because I know
Oh,
that's
do
all
I
about
have
travel.
time? It's like, God.
Yeah. Let's just
We're
see.
really-
Let's see your latest book, and then
All
we
right,
will
I'll
wrap
try
it
to
up.
hold it up without
Yeah.
screwing it up with the whoo whoo whoo. This one was actually originally a prompt from Are You Book Enough? And the prompt was open. Not the prompt was open, you can pick anything you want, but the
No,
word
open. Yeah.
right? And so, of course, I came up with something that, well, how does that relate to open? And I did
That looks good.
passport. It's a passport.
Yep.
And it is basically why I want the world to open
Mm-hmm.
again, because
Yep.
I miss traveling and I miss
Mm-hmm.
like experiencing other cultures.
Gotcha.
And this was a fun book to do because I feel like I did experience some other cultures if just in front of my computer, but obviously it's a different story. And I
Yep.
didn't get to look
Mm.
at things in person and eat with the natives.
That's
So
all right.
it's a carousel book.
Nice. Yeah.
So it opens up. I'll show you it from this
Ooh,
perspective.
cute.
It
Nice.
opens up. Whoops! It opens up
Uh-huh.
as a
Yep.
carousel book does,
Yep.
and each place.
Mm.
There we go. Australia is the first place, and
Mm-hmm.
it's got 3 levels.
Oh
Wow,
yeah.
screen is hard to right. Okay, there you
Yep,
go.
we can see it. Yep.
Australia.
Yeah.
Next is Peru,
Cute. Yeah.
and
Nice.
then you have
Uh,
what is going on? Oh, I didn't have it. Had it too far closed. Then we have
there you go. Portugal.
Portugal,
Yep.
and then we have Tibet,
Nice. Yeah.
and the last is Ghana.
Ghana.
Which
Yeah.
I may
Nice.
never get to at this point. And then at the very back, I put a pocket because I always like to have a colophon,
Mm-hmm.
and there was no
Yep.
place in a carousel book to really put one. So
Right.
there's a little booklet here, and that
Yep.
just gives all the information, what I wrote about, and the credits and all that stuff.
Nice.
So
That's
this
great.
was my open book.
Yeah. So if nothing else, folks, you could make a book about where you want to travel. I mean, really, if you're stuck for an idea, what are you going to do post-pandemic? Like, where are you going to go and why? And, so, all right. I have one more.
Never be stuck for an idea for a book,
Yeah.
because just point in a dictionary or point at something in your house and
Yeah.
just think as far as you can outside the box, so you're not like just creating the most obvious.
Yeah. All right. I have one more question. It's just a very technical question. Someone would like to know the brand of your printer. Do you know off the top of your head?
Oh yeah, of course. It's an Epson. It's actually
It's here.
it's an Epson Shore Color P400 right there.
Epson P4.
And I know we're out of time, but the last thing I'm going to do is say, this was what I did for Red. It's called
Okay,
Lessons in Red, and it is just a series of cards that hang.
Oh, cool.
Be bold, be different. And they're all black and white images that I highlighted
tiny bit of red.
In red.
Oh, that's cool. Find your peace. Show kindness. That's really cool. That's very, that's not literal at all.
It's not literal, but there's something red on them.
Yeah.
But it's just,
yeah.
That's what I did.
Nice.
And those are the only words. It's not like I went on and on. Be bold, be different, find your voice, find your peace, show kindness, show gratitude, give hope, give love.
Nice.
Those are my lessons.
Well, that's a nice way to end.
There you go.
We have shared all of your links, Lisa, and including the two that you gave us. Thank you for giving us an hour of your Thursday, very early Thursday morning.
As a member of the Handmade Book Club, I will say to you, if you have any questions, I mean, within reason, I'm not going to, spend an hour with you, but if you have any questions, if I can be of any assistance, please feel free to get in touch.
Yeah.
And follow me on Instagram, and we can converse there too.
All right. Well, thank you, my friend. It's been fun.
Everyone.